you a little insight on it, but as far as
Good evening, Dr. Anthony. How are you? This is Michael Nathan, comedian, talking to you. And I just
hi.
had one question for you this evening. It's a toughie, but I wanted you to give your brief opinion on the conflict between Israel and Palestine. What are your thoughts?
I think as far as Americans are concerned, I think we need to stay out of it, and I've always said that we need to stay out of it because my thing is, Israel is oppressing the Palestinians, and they want Americans to support that oppression. And the Palestinians are fighting back, but they have to understand that these are biblical wars. This go back to the Bible days. This go back to like the two brothers, and I can't recall their names at the moment or whatever. Because Mike and Nathan
Okay.
threw me off guard with
Okay,
this
I'm sorry.
question. No, you're good. But these are holy wars. These are biblical wars. You're not gonna win these wars with man-made weapons. And not what's his name, Netanyahu or whatever.
Yeah.
He wants to be sort of, to me, in the realm of Hitler, like he's the superior being, like he's the superior race, and things like that. And so
Almost like he wants to obliterate their Palestines out of
basically,
existence now,
basically, I mean, it's the same thing with like Hitler with the
crippling
with
them
the
so that they
Jews and
can't come
things like
back.
that or whatever. And then they're saying that people are becoming to be anti-Semitic. We're not being anti-Semitic. We're not against you as a Jew. We're against you as the hypocrisy that you're putting out there. It's the hypocrisy of you are not supporting these people, and you basically were the oppressed and went through something similar. So it's like, how can you say that we need to support you in this hand, but on the other hand we can't support them or whatever. So that's where I have problems with that or whatever. It's the hypocrisy about behind all of it, and then when you have a different opinion from those such as Nick Cannon. They tried to cancel Nick Cannon. They got him fired from jobs or whatever because they didn't like his opinion. You don't have to like his opinion. What he was stating was his opinion, and he was stating, speaking from a black man's perspective. First of all, you can't tell a black man or a black woman what to think, how to think, what to feel, and how to feel. These are our lived experiences. You went through a period of time where your people were oppressed, and you went through different times of racism, because when they originally came to the states, the white people that came over and integrated didn't accept them. So they kind of aligned with the black people, but once they got that
But
acceptance, or what
my,
kind of
mhm.
once they got that acceptance, then they started being the oppressors.
So
They started taking upon,
how do a people who claim to have been
and that's just
so
it. That's just,
hurt,
but
but I
that's
guess hurt
but
people hurt?
But I mean, that's the thing. That's just like the Asians when they came here. They were an oppressed persons. When the battle of Hiroshima, took place or whatever, and then we had to pay all these hundreds of millions and millions of dollars, billions or whatever to them, plus the Jews and things like that or whatever, which they don't want to pay black people because we're still under the same oppression. But they're quick to tell us to get over it. No, you get over it. If we have to get over slavery and the bullshit that we go through, get over it. You know what I'm saying? So, and that's my thing. And then they're saying, oh, everybody's anti-Semitic. No, we're not anti-Semitic. We're anti-bullshit. That's what we are. We're anti-bullshit because on one hand, you're saying that you were an oppressed person and that, we need to, align with you. But then when we come back and we have an opinion of a different stance, then, oh, we're anti-Semitic. No, we're not anti-Semitic. We're anti-bullshit. That's what we are.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because it has nothing to do with the color of your skin, what God you pray to. Because I don't know, you could be praying to this damn ring light that I got sitting right here in my face. I don't care who you pray to. That's between you and your God. But at the end of the day, you can't tell me what to say, what to think, and how to feel. And that's the problem. They want us to align with them, but then they don't want to address the oppression of black people. They don't want to address the oppression of brown people that are different from them, who serve the same the same religion and
It
things like
almost
that.
feels like
Because
a global narcissistic
I mean, it
movement.
is. It is because I mean, you have it's not just an American issue. It's a world issue because you have people who are on TikTok, other social media platforms, saying all of the racism that they're experiencing because their skin is darker, because their hair is curlier, because this is that another. We don't look like them. So when we go to different places, you want our money, but you don't want our presence there. So when we go to different places, you're being oppressive and you're taking up on that white supremacy mentality
I know this is
that
I know this is
you
going to
know
sound odd, Doc,
uh-huh.
But I think that racism is a program.
It's not a program.
I
Racism.
think it's
Mm-mm.
a program because
No, race
okay.
is not a program. Racism is a learned behavior. Racism is taught because you can take in there are experiments that shows you can take children of all races and put them out on the playground. All of those children are going to play with one another. It's not until the adults get involved when they say, "Oh, I can't play with you because you're black. I can't play with you because you're Asian. I can't play with you because you're Mexican or you're Latino." When the adults get involved, that's when the racism is pertinent. That's when it's prevalent. That is a learned behavior. That is taught. Because if you take the mass shooters, most of those people hate black people. Most of those people hate other people. Those are behaviors that are taught. Where are they learning it from? They're learning it from their white mamas. They're learning it from their white daddies. That's where they're getting it from. That's why they have a problem with critical race theory because they don't want their grandparents' faces being shown because they don't want the truth to be exposed. You know what I'm saying? So it's not a program. It's a learned behavior. It's a taught behavior because if you go back and look at pictures historically, look at pictures of KKK and all this, you have children that are in hoods. You have children that are out there calling black people monkeys. You have children that are out there, saying derogatory words towards black people. And these are the people that we're dealing with today. Because remember, a lot of the things that we're dealing with, that we're afforded now, happened in the 60s and the 70s.
So you don't think that the people above us,
What do you mean
above us, those who control the industries around us, you don't think that they know about the different conflicts between black and white
Oh, they
and
know. They're very well
right
aware.
and what causes them
Oh, they know. They're very well
how
aware.
the conflict between us makes them money
Well, the thing
and
about it
keeping
is,
us
you
at
gotta
odds.
understand. It's not about that. We call it dumbing down of America. When you dumb down the education system and you dumb down the Americans and you dumb down people that are in the education system, you have greater control because if they don't know, then they can't fight against it. They don't even know that they're being oppressed, white, black, whatever, because of the lack of education and the lack of knowledge. When you know better, you do better. When you learn more, you're open to things. A lot of the issues that we have, if you haven't noticed, are in red states. These are red states that are controlled by Republicans. A lot of the poverty that we have is in red states. These are states that are controlled by Republicans because they refused to, when President Obama was in office, they refused to help and to aid. And they tried to make it seem like it was a President Obama fault. No, it wasn't a President Obama fault. It was your local government who refused, your governors, your senators who got together and refused that aid because they didn't want you to have what you wanted to have and what you needed to have. And there's also documentaries out there about the public health care system. They wanted the public health care system, but they didn't want black people to have it. So a lot of the decisions that are being made is being made with black people in mind because they don't want black people to experience it. They're talking about like entitlement programs. First of all, these programs were started for white women, single white mothers or whatever. Black women were not even allowed to participate in a lot of these programs. So while they're talking about black women are welfare queens, no, black women are not welfare queens. It's the white women that are welfare queens because a lot of this was deemed for them, and you had to look a certain way, you had to be a certain way, and a black woman couldn't get it because she didn't look like that. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So it wasn't us that was running up the bills. It was them or whatever. So like I said, if we're gonna call a spade, we're gonna call a spade. So we have to like address it from all points and all sides. Why they're talking about black women is this, black women is that. We've been oppressed enough or whatever. And we're still being oppressed. We're not only being oppressed by white people, but we're also being oppressed by our men in the community because they feel that we're not feminine enough, we're not this, we're not docile enough. But society has created a place where black women femininity is not there or whatever, because they put black women against black men against black women, and try to make us out to be in this heat of rage and heat of arguments when most of that is not necessarily the case. And then
Do you think that's the reason why they're putting the movie The Color Purple back out?
No, I don't think that's the reason. They're remaking a lot of movies or whatever.
Yeah, but that movie The Color Purple painted a bad picture of black men.
It's, I mean,
and that whole Mister.
But at the same time, but
character.
you have to understand what black men had endured and things like that. You know, like I said, when you learn better, you do better. At the time, that's all that they knew. You know what I'm saying? So yes, you can hold them accountable, but at the same time, you can't hold them accountable because they learned from an oppressor. You know what I'm saying? They learned how to behave from an oppressor. They didn't have, real live role models that they could follow and things like that. This is something that was taught to them. Because when the mailman came around, he ran out with the cookies. Oh, here you go, sir. Here you go, sir. You know what I'm saying? So he was trying to impress the white man or whatever.
Yeah.
So that's where he learned his behavior from or whatever. So we can't take movies of that nature and look at it as, like a stepping stone, for black men, because black men has always surpassed and, did what they needed to do in the black community with their families. It's just not talked about. What is talked about is, the lack of the black father in the home and the lack of this and the lack of that. But at the same time, you gotta blame them. You gotta blame the mom too. You know what I'm saying? So you can't blame the father and not blame the mom because it's twofold. But you do have a
Well,
lot of black fathers who are out there who are doing the damn thing, but they're not highlighted. They're not shown. They're not showcased. So you can't say that black men are just derogatory towards black women. It's not all accurate. There's some fallacy there.
well, I wanted to thank you, Dr. Anthony, for giving your opinion this evening. You were absolutely fantastic as always.
No
Peace and
makeup.
blessings. Michael Nate, the comedian. Thank you for sitting down and talking to me.